Hello, and welcome to another edition of Alan Drinks Whiskey and Talks About Books. Today, I am drinking eggnog with brandy in it because that is the best way to enjoy eggnog. So good. Um, you might notice I don't have my whiteboard behind me because I don't. The room that that's in is filled with Christmas stuff. But bah humbug, I'm going to be talking about A Christmas Carol today. Usually, I do kind of have a uh, presentation that I kind of go through, so I remember quotes. But I've taught A Christmas Carol a bunch, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it because it's a really great Christmas story, and it's a lot of fun. Actually, last night for the first time, I saw The Man Who Invented Christmas. Highly recommend. Uh, that's probably my favorite Scrooge ever because Scrooge in there is kind of funny, though he is kind of funny in the book, actually. Like if you read him a certain way, like he makes jokes to make light of things, especially like when Marley's there. But the Scrooge in that movie was fantastic. But really, what I want to talk about is the fact that Ebenezer Scrooge is being used in advertising, and I just find that very strange, but like not in like a he's going to learn his lesson way. There's a Mercedes commercial where Jacob Marley shows him the past, present, and future of cars, or like transportation in general. So like in the past, there's like horses and buggies and stuff like that, and in the present, they're all in a traffic jam, and then in the future, it's some like electric Mercedes vehicle that's just zooming past fields. Uh, and then the other one's a Peloton ad where Ebenezer Scrooge works out the entire year. These are both wrong. Let's talk about it for a little bit here. So, first off, the Ebenezer Scrooge in that Mercedes ad, because he's Stave One Scrooge, you don't want him selling anything because he's a cantankerous, evil person. Barely he's a person, like he's a caricature, but he's evil. And so when you have Stave One Scrooge selling luxury vehicles, I think you kind of missed the point. We know it's Stave One because that's where Marley is. Marley doesn't appear in any of the other staves. So, but that's kind of a technicality. But what really gets at me for this is that both of these ads are selling luxury goods using Ebenezer Scrooge. And the whole lesson of A Christmas Carol is to not hoard wealth, but to share it with people. Now, it's not technically like some people are like, oh, like socialism. No, not quite, because really what Dickens is going for is that, like, hey, the rich should care about the poor and do more to help them because society isn't doing its part. Dickens isn't calling on the government directly to do things. He's calling on like the upper class to be generous and donate money and stuff like that. Um, and you can make an argument that buying an electric vehicle helps the environment and stuff like that. But at the end, you're still buying like a luxury good for yourself. If you think about Scrooge's main expenditure that he has in the Christmas Carol, it's a donation. We don't know how much it is, but he finds the people that asked him for money in Stave One, where he was very rude to them, and then he whispers something in their ear, and they're like, "That's so much money." And he's like, "Not a farthing less, because there's so many back payments in it." That's his biggest purchase in there. It's not for him. It's not something that's going to make him comfortable. Scrooge, as a matter of fact, didn't like comfort. He says that dark was cheap, and so he likes to live in the dark. He's not like living in luxury. He's just hoarding wealth. In fact, his nephew says he doesn't even use his money for him. He just has it to have it. Um, Something about offshore bank accounts suddenly comes to mind, right? So Scrooge selling you a luxury car, like it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And then Scrooge also in the Peloton ad where he just kind of works out for the year, and then at the end, like he opens up the window, he's like, "You boy, what day is it today?" And it's like August 14th or something like that. So it does not even like doesn't even tie into Christmas. Like I think they were going for a joke there, but like that again, like Scrooge didn't just work on himself; he worked on people, and it says that he kept the spirit of Christmas in his heart year around. Um, that's what he did. He didn't just like, oh, it's near Christmas, I better donate money. Like he did it all the time. He became a changed person. That's how we know that he avoids Marley's fate. He doesn't damn himself for eternity. He changes. He is a better person. And yes, you work on yourself a little bit, but not to the extent where you shut yourself in and you use luxury workout equipment all the time. Like that doesn't. That's not Scrooge. So what lessons should be taken away here? I'm so glad you asked because I did pull up some quotes because I want to get the quotes right when they talk about it. And the first one is from Scrooge's nephew. Scrooge's nephew is probably one of my favorite characters in A Christmas Carol just because he's fun. He's like the opposite of Scrooge in every way. And he says to Ebenezer at the very beginning of the book, there are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say. Christmas among the rest, but I am sure I have always thought of Christmas time, when it has come around, apart from the veneration due to its sacred name and origin, if anything belonging to it can be apart from that, as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time, the only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless it. And that's kind of the crux, really, of the book is that like Christmas isn't a time for profit. So I mean, you could make the argument that nobody should be advertising this time of year, but we're not going to get into that. But Scrooge is all about profit, and not even profit to benefit himself, to benefit anybody else. It's just for profit. Uh, and here the nephew is saying, like, no, you. This is a time of year where you recognize the humanity in other people, people that are different from you. You recognize that humanity in them, and you help them out if they so need it. The nephew comes back in State Four, which is the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, and he doesn't like appear directly, but Bob Cratchit mentions uh, that Fred uh, had wished him well and gave condolences after the death of Tiny Tim. So he's just like a really good person. What I really liked about the man who invented Christmas, the Scrooge in there is like, I didn't know my clerk had a crippled child. And Dickens like, did you ever think to ask? And Scrooge is like, I don't pay him to talk about his personal life. I pay him to keep the books, something like that. But if he had recognized Bob Cratchit's humanity, maybe he would have paid him better. But more to the point, he would have treated him with respect. And that's the part of that. Now, does buying a luxury car, even if it's electric, do this? No. No, it doesn't. It's just to make yourself good about yourself, but you're not really helping anybody else out. And plus, unless you live in like Iowa, you still have to sit in that traffic that they show you in the Ghost of Christmas present in that ad. Does working out on a Peloton system do this? No, no, it doesn't. Um, this piggybacks on the next quote I'm gonna give, and this is from Marley. Um, I like Marley because Marley is like the warning of of the book. Um, and this is in response to Scrooge saying that Marley was a good man of business. Business, cried the ghost. Mankind was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The deals of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. And this is Marley recognizing that he should have done more to better the people around him, to better humanity. But he doesn't. He just sits on his wealth, much like Scrooge is doing. He doesn't benefit anybody. Scrooge's nephew will at one point say, heck, he's not going to give the money to us and he doesn't use it for himself. It's just there. There's kind of an interesting economic term that I have recently learned, and I don't know the official name of it, but it's basically like how fluid money is in an economy. And so it's like, if I give you $5 and then you use that $5 to, buy carrots, and then the grocer then turns around and spends $5 to buy new lights for his store, and then the guy that has the lights for the store uses the $5 to buy, snacks or whatever. Like, that $5 has helped like a bunch of people. But if I give like a really wealthy person $5, they're just going to sit on it. And that's kind of what Dickens is getting at. The money's not doing anybody any good. So is that luxury car going to be doing anybody good? Is that going to help the ocean of business, like the mankind? Is that going to help mankind? No. Is the Peloton going to help mankind? No, it's really not. It, is there a way that you can use Ebenezer Scrooge effectively in an ad campaign? I don't really think there is. Like, unless it's that you want people to give you money for charitable causes, then maybe. But using Scrooge for luxury goods, I don't know. It's bothered me all Christmas season, and I figured if I was going to do an episode on A Christmas Carol, uh, I better get it in before Christmas time. So here we are. Um, but yeah, A Christmas Carol it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun messages in it. Um, my students, my seventh graders, they actually talked about responsibility within A Christmas Carol. And I should ask them, is it responsible to buy a luxury car for yourself? Is it responsible to buy a Peloton, and just see what their reactions are? I didn't, and school is out, so I probably won't when we get back from break. But it's just kind of an interesting question. Anyway, this is just kind of irked me literally all Christmas season. Like, the first time I saw the ads, they just didn't sit right with me. So there you go. I've done an episode on it. Ha! I showed Mercedes, because 10 people will watch this. If you are one of those 10 people, here's to you. I appreciate you. So anyway, that has been a very quick and brief episode of Alan Drinks Whiskey and Talks About Books. Brandy and eggnog, that's my Christmas tip for you. I hope you have a great holiday. If you're traveling, I hope you have a very safe travels. And we'll be back with more episodes in 2022. Cheers.